Hello, my joy-filled friends. Welcome back. Today I'm going to read Genesis chapter 8. The flood recedes. Let's go. Genesis chapter 8. But God remembered Noah and all the animals in the boat. He sent a wind to blow across the waters, and the floods began to disappear. The underground water sources ceased their gushing, and the torrential rains stopped. So the flood gradually began to recede. After 150 days, exactly 5 months from the time the flood began, the boat came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. 2.5 months later, as the waters continued to go down, other mountain peaks began to appear. After another 40 days, Noah opened the window and released a raven that flew back and forth until the earth was dry. Then he sent out a dove to see if it could find dry ground, but the dove found no place to land because the water was still too high. As it returned to the boat, Noah held out his hand and drew the dove back in. 7 days later, Noah released the dove again. This time, toward evening, the bird returned to him with a fresh olive leaf in its beak. Noah now knew that the water was almost gone. A week later, he released the dove again, and this time it did not come back. Finally, when Noah was 601 years old, 10.5 months after the flood began, Noah lifted back the cover to look. The water was drying up. 2 more months went by, and at last the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Leave the boat, all of you. Release all the animals and birds so they can breed and reproduce in great numbers." So Noah, his wife, and his sons and their wives left the boat, and all the various kinds of animals and birds came out, pair by pair. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord and sacrificed on it the animals and birds that had been approved for that purpose. And the Lord was pleased with the sacrifice and said to himself, "I will never again curse the earth, destroying all living things, even though people's thoughts and actions are bent toward evil from childhood. As long as the earth remains, there will be springtime and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, day and night." Well, once again, we have a lot here to unpack. The flood recedes and the waters stop flowing, they stop rising, the rain stops, and the water recedes to reveal new ground. After 5 months, 5 months from the time the flood began, Noah started to seek out whether or not there was ground, and it took another almost 3 months. It basically took another 3 months for the waters to recede enough to reveal dry ground. And at that point, the Lord actually told Noah to go out. Get out of the boat, Noah. Take your family, let all the animals go, and take up residence on this new earth, this earth that has revealed itself after all this water. I don't even know. Water can transform. It transforms the land for sure. It makes canyons, and as water goes down, mountains, hills, volcanoes are discovered. Islands are made. I can't imagine. I don't know what it was like prior to and how did it change afterward. Who knows? I don't think that we'll ever know. But here Noah is in this new land. He is displaced. He came from one place, and 5, 6 months later, 7 months later, I mean, he's now in a brand new place because how far did that boat travel? You know, and of course, it's just him and his family. There's nobody else there. Really something. I can't imagine what that would have been like, but it actually happened. And we have the proof right here in the Bible. So, Noah, 601 years old, 10.5 months after the flood began. Actually, I misspoke. I mean, I was like 7 months, but no, it's here it says 10.5 months after he lifted back the cover of the boat, of the window, of the door, who knows, to look, and the water was drying up, but 2 more months went by. So an entire year. That's incredible. How did they keep everything? How did they have enough food and keep all the animals fed and everything? It's really just mind-blowing. It really is. It's just mind-blowing. So God said, leave the boat, all of you. Verse 17, release all the animals and the birds so they can breed and reproduce in great numbers. And so they all left the boat, all the kinds of animals and birds, pair by pair. Just as they went in, they left pair by pair. And then, verse 20, Noah built an altar to the Lord and sacrificed on it the animals and birds that had been approved for that purpose. And the Lord was pleased with the sacrifice and said to himself, I will never again curse the earth, destroying all living things. So God made a promise to himself, said, I'm not going to ever destroy the earth again. And we will see in the next chapter the visual evidence of that promise. In chapter 9, verse 13, verse 13, I have placed my rainbow in the clouds. It is a sign of my permanent promise to you and to all the earth. When I send clouds over the earth, the rainbow will be seen in the clouds, and I will remember my covenant with you and with everything that lives. Never again will there be a flood that will destroy all life. So the flood I was speaking of prior here at home, and how we were joking that we should probably start building an ark because it had been raining for so many days nonstop. And of course the water, our streets and our homes and everything were flooding. I knew better. I mean, I know that the Lord sent the rainbow as a promise to us, is making a covenant with us in the earth that he would not do that again. I know that. I've known that since I was little, because I was taught this story. I was taught about the rainbow, and every time I see the rainbow, I think of the Lord and his promises to us. But in that moment, in those days when there was just nothing but rain and water and destruction, you couldn't help but wonder, is this going to be another catastrophic event? But of course I know better. And so I can only assume that that will never happen again because of what I read in the Word. And if I believe one part of the Bible, then I have to believe the whole part of the Bible. And because we do see a rainbow in the sky, I have to think the Lord is with us and his promises hold true. So anyway, he goes on to say in verse 20, that's a very long verse, I will never again curse the earth, even though people's thoughts and actions are bent toward evil from childhood. As long as the earth remains, there will be springtime and harvest, winter and summer, day and night. So we can be assured that as long as we are still here, yes, there will be evil. Yes, we will always have sin in our hearts. But yes, there is a solution because that's what Jesus is for. That's what he's all about. That's why he came to save us, was to provide a way to cleanse our hearts and to make us new. But even still, we are still human. We are still imperfect. And so is this world. This world is, the environment is, not perfect. And there will always be natural disasters. But there will also always be day and night, the sun and the moon. There will always be summer and winter. And we can be assured that as long as we're alive, we will every day see the sun rise and see the sun set. And that's just evidence of the Lord holding us secure, that he holds everything in his hands and he is in control. So I take comfort in that because I know I can't make this world spin. I know I can't make the rain come or the sun to rise. I can't make the rain stop either. So I simply trust that the Lord is doing what he wants to do and what is best for this earth, and whatever his will is, I surrender to that. So this is a great story, a great set of scriptures. I've really enjoyed reading it with you, and I hope that if there's anything, any question marks that have popped out for you, that you will dig in and do a little more research and continue to read to see what comes next. All right, thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time.
This crazy cat likes hard-boiled eggs.